Welcome back. Australia has been hit with a 10% tariff on all imports to the US under President Trump's sweeping Liberation Day plans.
Despite our strong ties, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was unable to secure an exemption. Liberal leader Peter Dutton has slammed the government, accusing them of not providing enough assurances to keep Australia off Trump's list.
And Peter Dutton joins us live. Good morning to you.
Morning, Nat.
Let's go straight to this. One of our daily newspapers is leading with this story this morning, basically saying that Anthony Albanese is already working on a deal to use our critical minerals, things like lithium, tin, cobalt, to do some kind of deal with the US and scrap our 10% tariff. Would that be achievable?
Yeah, well, I think it is achievable, and the engagement needs to be with the US, but it should have been taking place really from January, and the problem is that the Prime Minister hasn't been able to get even a phone call, let alone a meeting with the President. The Ambassador can't get into the West Wing, and it shows that had we done the work beforehand, I think there was a deal to be struck. And when you look at the statement out of the White House, they are talking about ways in which there is a deal to be done here. And we do have, I think, the opportunity through critical minerals, through the relationship that we have in the defence sphere, to pull together something that's in our mutual best interests. If we do that...
We got the best deal in the world, though.
10%, I was talking to beef producers yesterday. Now, first point is that the US can't produce enough beef for the consumption, so they need to import beef, and Australia is an important partner in that regard. So I actually think that's a bit of a ruse, but still 10% on a small business in Western Sydney who has been exporting and developed a market in the US might be the difference between whether their business is viable or not.
So, May 3rd, you get in. You're in charge now. What do you do? How do you deal with Donald Trump?
Well, Shiva, when we were in government last time, when President Trump was in the Oval Office, we were able to negotiate an exemption for Australia. So it was at 0%. Other countries had the tariff applied. We didn't. And it's because we put work into the relationship. We've got connections with those within, a position of influence on the President.
Will you be able to get us an exemption?
I think we can, and I think there is a deal to be done there. We've got an incredible opportunity with the defence industry sector in Australia to continue to grow that. If we can do that, then I think there is value in the Americans' eyes, and I do think that the 10% is just a leverage. It's a negotiating tactic, and I think that we can get a good outcome.
So would you use our defence deal, our AUKUS deal, as leverage? Is that what you're saying?
I think if you have a look at AUKUS, there's two pillars. One is the submarine part. The other part is around AI. It's around critical minerals. It's around autonomous vehicles, so underwater drones. There's an enormous opportunity of value add for us. So I think there is a big play here for our industry, and the Americans see value in that because they want assurances and certainty in their supply chain in the development of their weapons, and that's why they need our critical minerals, and we can be a trusted partner. And that's what I say, all of this conversation should have been taking place over the last 3, 4, 5 months.
Let's move on a little bit and talk about nuclear power and how you believe you're going to back it in. Just give us 3 critical things, right? When can you deliver it, and how quickly can you deliver it? How much is it going to cost, and how much is it realistically, immediately going to save us? So
2035 to 37 is when we start to roll out the first 2 reactors, and then into the 2040s. It costs $331 billion, which is 44% cheaper than Labor's plan, and that's independent analysis of our 2 energy policies. So it is going to mean cheaper electricity. It is also going to mean reliable power, so we won't get the blackouts and brownouts that Mr Albanese's plan will be certain to deliver. It allows us to transition as we decarbonise and reduce our emissions. At the moment, China is building 29 nuclear power plants. The United Kingdom, the Labor government there has just announced that they're cutting all of the approval times so that they can bring more nuclear into the system. In our country, I just think we've lost sight of how much we're paying for electricity here. We're paying 3 times the cost that, say, people are in Tennessee or in Ontario, where they do have renewables underpinned by nuclear. So our plan is, as you come out of coal into gas, and we want a lot more gas in the system, which will bring prices down, the price of electricity, because gas is used in the production of electricity. And then that's the interim step, and then we go to nuclear. Now, if you have a look at Apple, Oracle, all of the big companies that are now building these big AI and data centres, they're all doing it in the United States and with companies that are providing nuclear power. So I just think it's where the world is moving. We are the only one of the top 20 economies in the world not going down the nuclear path.
In the US, though, let's look at the US, seeing as you've brought it up. I think the Georgia one is the only one that's been built, since the 1990s? And didn't that go over budget and way over time?
Well, Nat, if you have a look at the small modular reactor and if you have a look at the technology that's there now, I'm not proposing that we build sort of an Australian-made reactor from scratch. We should be doing what the South Koreans have done, what's happened in the Middle East, and look at the examples where it's been good and bad, trying to sort of build it and bespoke as they've done in the UK. It runs over budget and over time, but the technology now means that in modular form, you can ship around in shipping containers. I just think this whole... We're going to leave ourselves behind the rest of the world. If you look at, as I say, the China example, they're building 2 coal-fired power stations a week. They're building 29 nuclear reactors as we speak.
And they've got cheap labour, though, compared to us, though. So is that a good comparison?
They'll end up delivering at a cheaper model for that reason, and also because they don't have the environmental regulations that we do appropriately in our country. The other point I'd make is if you look at an area like the Hunter or really any coal mining area, their jobs and that industry, that town is done. There's no shopping mall, there's no barista course that's going to provide a future for those miners. And the international experience with nuclear is that 77% of those jobs translate from coal across into nuclear. And you can bring the AI data centres and you can bring the big industrial centres in to rejuvenate all of those areas that otherwise are just going to wilt.
Just got to wait 10 years. All the best. Thanks so much. I know you're day 8 into it. It's a long campaign. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.